Hey everyone, welcome back to Jurassic World Evolution. Today we are starting a tour of the 5 deaths from the story mode. And what I've done is I basically demolished everything on all 5 islands and rebuilt them. I mainly did this because after a while I got tired of coming back to my story mode parks to research the new dinosaurs for the expansions and having them all not look very good. And just, I also thought that this is especially relevant now because once the new Jurassic Park themed DLC comes out, chances are we won't have as many reasons to come back to the 5 deaths, because I have a feeling a lot of the replayability will be coming from whatever that expansion has to offer. So anyway, we're just going to take a tour. This is the story mode, by the way, not the sandbox. It would be easier to just do this in sandbox, but I wanted my campaign mode parks to look nice. If you want to do this yourself, what I would recommend is you can go to the arrival point at every park and you can close the park, so that will not prompt guests to start leaving. You'll have to kind of start as far away as possible and just start slowly deleting everything and sedating and selling your dinosaurs. And that part in itself takes at least a half hour. It's very tedious. But when you're done, you basically, if you've played the island long enough, you'll have a ton of money, and it's basically sandbox mode, but you'll still have storms and diseases. The other thing I want to mention is that I put an emphasis on the dinosaurs that came with the game, as well as the Fallen Kingdom dinosaurs and the Deluxe Edition dinosaurs. And I've tried to match every dinosaur that you unlock with the corresponding island, with a few exceptions. One of those exceptions is actually on this island, but I hope it'll make sense when we get there. So let's start from the entrance. As you can see, we just got a nice big path leading down to our hotels, and the main feature here is a Jurassic Tour ride that goes all the way around the mountain that is kind of the central feature of this island. I've always thought that would be a great feature for a Jurassic Tour ride, and I was finally able to realize that. I've tried to hide with the trees here. My facilities are off to the side over here. And then we got our greenhouse. Every island has a greenhouse except Isla Pena. I've actually done this process on every island except Isla Sorna already. And as you can see, this continues to be kind of hidden from the guests. And over here we have our ranger station and ACU, as well as 2 hatcheries. And then we also have this other chunk of the island that we'll get to in a minute. Alright, so with our Jurassic Tour ride, very fittingly, your first exhibit is a nice big area filled with Struthiomimus. I have pretty much every cosmetic here, so we'll just kind of start tagging along. This one's the arid. We got woodland. And let's see, I know I've got rainforest in here because this one's my personal favorite for the Struthiomimus. So yeah, there's quite a bit of them. I kept a lot of the natural terrain, which looks really, really nice when you're watching the truck go up and down the hills and all that stuff. This island unfortunately doesn't have sand in the campaign mode. I think it might have it in the sandbox, but not in the story mode. But I've just made use of the dirt a little more and the rock. So anyway, after that we head into a very elevated exhibit. This is actually my personal favorite on the island. And it has Crichtonsaurus and Dracorex. They have a pretty limited social count, so there's not very many of them. So let's take a look at our Crichtonsaurus. This is woodland, also woodland, and this is the vivid Crichtonsaurus. And let's look for our Dracorex. I do believe that I went with a woodland themed for this because I wanted with the dinosaur cosmetics. Oops, that's the feeder. This one's vivid. And oh, we got the woodlands right all over here. They're pretty loud. The dinosaurs are always pretty loud. So yeah, like I said, this one's actually my personal favorite because of the elevation change on this island anyway. Alright, and next we go into the Huayangosaurus enclosure. For challenge mode, I always pair this guy with Chunkingosaurus and or Gigantspinosaurus. So I wanted to just have one exhibit with a ton of Huayangosaurus all by themselves as a group for once, instead of always pairing them with Chunkingosaurus. Because Chunkingosaurus is unlocked on Isla Muerta, and that is the featured stegosaur for that island. So as you can see, they occupy the farthest area away from the entrance, and there's quite a few of them. Nothing overly exciting about their enclosure, though. And last, before we get back to the guest area, we have a Ceratopsid and hadrosaur enclosure that features Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, and Sinoceratops. This one's a little bit more busy because there's a little less space. As you can see, this may be a little overkill with the rock feature, but I think it really breaks up the terrain a little bit. And it is fairly elevated, so having it look rocky I think is fitting. As you can see, we have our challenge mode skin, the woodland Triceratops, on display here, as well as our Taiga Edmontosaurus, which is gotten from this island. And let's check out our Sinoceratops real quick. I believe this is just the basic pattern, and then here's a tundra. So yes, like I said, I focused on the dinosaurs that are unlocked on that island. I kind of wanted it to feel like the story mode still, and not just have everything be all mixed up. Alright, so as you can see, we would then take our monorail, which goes around the safari and leads back to this area of the park. This area has our 3 species of carnivores on the island, and there's several viewing areas. As you can see, our biggest carnivore is a pair of Indominus Rex. This dinosaur is unlocked on Isla Pena, which has very, very little space, and Indominus Rex needs a ton of space. And I had a lot of extra room and no large carnivores, so I thought that Indominus Rex would be a suitable substitute. And furthermore, as far as I know, the soft canon for this game is that it happens after the fall of Jurassic World. So to me, it would make sense that they would fix the Indominus Rex so that it tolerates a sibling and that it could more easily be kept in captivity. So while we're talking about the Indominus Rex, we've got the coastal one that we get from Isla Nublar, as well as the basic. I put the camouflage pattern on the basic Indominus Rex to be as fitting to the movie as possible, and this is one of my favorite exhibits, actually. I really like seeing the sibling Indominus Rexes. It kind of feels like we have applied what we learned in Jurassic World the movie and are ready to make whole new mistakes, as Dr. Malcolm would say. But anyway, our other carnivores are Proceratosaurus, which I know is not one of the starting dinosaurs. This is from one of the carnivore packs. But I thought it was a very fitting addition to this park because we don't have any small carnivores that are unlocked on Matanceros. But we do have Ceratosaurus, which is next door, and we'll get there in a second. As we can see, I gave the alpha status to the vivid pattern. And I personally really like the default blue and orange, so the rest of them are the default skins. One thing that I've tried to do too in these parks is I've either stuck with a theme for the skin pattern color, or I've gone with all basic and then I make one alpha that is like a vivid skin color or whatever to differentiate the alpha. Alright, so as you can see, the gyrosphere tour heads into our Ceratosaurus enclosure, which features the coastal Ceratosaurus, which is my personal favorite. This reminds me of the Valley of the T-Rex, black and red T-Rex that is in that documentary. And of course we have our challenge mode jungle Ceratosaurus on display as well, which is my second favorite Ceratosaurus skin. And once again, now that we're not worried about challenge mode, I don't have to worry about maximizing these exhibits, so I thought that just having a pair of them instead of 3 would be nice for once. So one thing I do want to mention is I've recreated these islands with the intention of having it be a little bit more quote-unquote artsy, but also still maintaining a 5-star rating. And I've been able to do that for all the islands so far, except for Tucano, and that is only because you get so many dinosaurs on Tucano that my dinosaur rating is ridiculously high, to the point where I need like 6 hotels to meet the occupancy rating. So all the other islands, I believe I have a full 5-star rating. Also, kind of fitting to the movie, the gyrosphere ride does not go into the Indominus Rex paddock. You can see the Indominus Rexes from this gallery here. As you can see, she's running away with the camouflage on. Pretty fitting. They squabble quite a bit. And you can also look at them from this viewing tower. So the overall habitat has near 100% visibility. What's really nice about these two is they actually, I do believe, let's see, are these 2 live bait feeders? Yeah, so the live bait feeders, I have 2 of them because sometimes the game glitches, and unless you have multiple feeders, the second dinosaur goes hungry. But anyway, they actually wander over here quite a bit, even though there's nothing that would force them over here, which is really nice, because that keeps this viewing gallery active as well. So, that's the tour of Matanceros. If you want to do something similar, the ways that I you can just recall from memory what dinosaurs you get, but you can also check in here and it shows what you unlock. I also just used, like, there's a wiki online that shows you every dinosaur you get for the islands. But that's about it for Matanceros. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time on Isla Muerta.